Hi there, Taurus. Welcome to your September 2023 general tarot reading. It's Rena here. Wow, these are really intense energies here. What is going on? Wow, there you go. So it ends, all's well that ends well. But you might have to go through some stuff to get there. Now, you are having the last of your eclipses in the end of October. And the reason that this is important is because even in September, you may feel some of those things. It's a lunar eclipse, so it can bring something out that is, occurring in your first house of the self, so it can affect your life in general. Some area that is really being transformed, and a lunar eclipse is a powerful full moon, so that purging and those things coming out into the open is the theme. But even in September, there's going to be a full moon in Aries, and that's a sign right before you. So that's your 12th house. So definitely in those situations, things that are hidden and even like hidden enemies, people that are working against you in some way. Or if you're in a relationship, you could be married to a hidden enemy, a person that doesn't have your best interests at heart, but you either are in big time denial or they have two sides to themselves. Maybe they show you that warm and fuzzy side. And even though other people may sense that there is something wrong or something going on, you might want to believe that everything is fine. So we have here, the heart of the matter is the 10 of Swords. Oh my goodness gracious. In this deck, they use a fish. In the Rider-Waite, the standard tarot deck, they have Pamela Coleman Smith did the illustrations for that deck that are like, they're kind of the standard that we judge everything by. And she has like I don't know what kind of animal, a bull, or not a bull, but I don't know, some kind of animal. So it's like this idea of getting stabbed in the back. It's this idea of being betrayed. It's betrayal. But it can be, if somebody has been going through a rough patch, it can actually be a very hopeful card, because it can point to, okay, this is it. Now you're on an upswing. This is the end of this difficult time in your life. And I really feel that lunar eclipse will be that actual marker for you, because it is like it's a very powerful full moon, and it's the last one. So it's kind of like letting you let go of everything that no longer serves you, so you can move on. In the past position, we have the Emperor. So this may be the, it's funny that they have the King. I have not, the Emperor is associated with the sign of Aries. And it's associated, to me, I see it more as Capricorn, because I see like that 10th house connection But it's supposed to be a card of the person who is, it might be like in some cases, it might be like a judge. So if there's some kind of a legal decision, it might be a father or a male that is an Aries, or somebody who is in the military or a police officer, or has that sort of attitude of the like authoritarian kind of a thing. I guess, an emperor, if they're, like a president or something, but it's actually royalty, isn't it? So, I mean, same kind of status in a way, the head honcho. That kind of thing can even be within yourself, that you're trying to get your life in order. And it coincides with this ending of maybe a rather negative cycle. Or we can just say a challenging cycle, because there might be a very positive side to it, actually, all, when you everything is boiled down to its core, it might actually have a positive side to it. The higher message is the Nine of Swords. Pay attention to what your fears are all about, Taurus, because they can give you some idea of what your motivations are for things. So, for instance, with the Emperor, if you had a father, let's say I'm using an example of a male-female relationship, and this is not meant to exclude other ones, but just because of the symbolism that they represent with the parents that are connected to it. So let's say that you're a woman who had a negative relationship with your father, and he was very authoritarian, and you felt like you couldn't really just have this love that was not connected to the hierarchy of him being the power. And so maybe you find yourself attracted to men who are like that, who are very controlling. The emperor might have that quality, and it really bothers you, but you find yourself drawn to that type of man. The Nine of Swords is saying, what is it? What kind of fears bring out those choices that motivate you to make those choices? And I would say, I don't personally understand, why people do things like that, but I think it has to do with this idea of trying to rewrite history. Like, if you couldn't get your father's approval, or to love you in the way that you need to be loved, you unconsciously seek out a person like that, or are attracted to a person like that, so that you can make it happen. But of course, a partner or a lover is not a father. So it's never going to be an exact substitute. And you know what? You can't make anybody do just about anything. So it's not really about that. Also, another thing, fears are phantoms. So if you are someone who has felt a sense of betrayal, maybe from an Aries individual or whatnot, and it has kind of jolted you to some degree, made you question let's say you got cheated on, and it made you, and that's one of the things that a Taurus person, that would like really freak you out, because that's, Taurus people tend to be very possessive, but you have to be careful about that, because you could create the very scenario that you don't want, simply by being so controlling in terms of that other person, thinking that they even if you are married to someone, that doesn't mean that you own that person. You know what I mean? And being able to respect another person's autonomy is so important. If you can't do that, that person may harbor resentments. And some people are passive aggressive, and that's kind of like having an affair could be passive aggressive. It's their way of getting back at someone that they feel is really taking the joy out of life because of their, you know, attitude towards, you know, what that other person is supposed to do for them, instead of, you know, treating that person as someone who is just a companion in life, you know, not somebody who has this, you know, owes you something because you happen to love them. So when you really question your fears, you can really see how hollow they are inside. That they're really because you give them energy. Well, crosses use the Two of Coins, which is the Two of Pentacles. Sometimes this can mean, like, if you got betrayed at work, you may be, you know, debating whether or not to stay in this particular job. But this is in a challenge position, so you may not entertain that notion when the Ten of Swords may be that red flag that should guide you to say, hey, you know what? This ain't happening. So I have to really love myself enough to move on. But Taurus is a fixed sign, and you're very persistent, to say the least. Sometimes this can be just being in that rut, being in that groove where it's your comfort zone, even when there's discomfort based on how you're being treated. And so you have to challenge yourself not to stay there, because that can prolong a negative cycle as well. What's coming in is the Eight of Swords. This is really looking, I like how they have a sun up there, because that kind of brightens this card that is quite challenging and really is about these old tapes that might be going in your head. The Nine of Swords, you got the Nine of Swords and the Eight of Swords, and both of those cards can be about the negative thought patterns. But with the Eight of Swords, this can be something that was imposed upon you by, you know, probably like parents or other authority figures. It's right under the Emperor, so it could be a father, and some of the messages that were given to you that don't have anything to do specifically with you. It's really more about them, that these messages were really inflicted on you, you could say. And when you realize this, you no longer have this need to kind of like buy into it, which is really awesome. And you can let that go. Again, you know, maybe that time of the lunar eclipse will be when that happens. And the outcome is the King of Coins, which is the King of Pentacles. Pentacles are earth like you. And this is about you stepping into that ultimate version of yourself, the most empowered version of yourself, Taurus, where you're able to not only see your worth from the highest perspective, but from a professional point of view, achieve, you know, this is a card of abundance, but, you know, I would say anything that has to do with your work at the highest level, your accomplishments, you know, your prosperity, and your autonomy, even though this usually I would think of the King of Wands for that, but I'm saying for you specifically, since you are connected to Earth. Okay, that's what I have for you, Taurus. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.